I'm going to use a couple Jay-Z lines to frame all these Caitlin Clark comparisons that keep popping up. There was one where he says, people thinking they made Hove, okay, make another Hove. And the thing is, Caitlin Clark was not made or created. That's part of it. She made herself due to her play and the way that fans simply responded to it. Then there's the other that I wanted to reference, which is a Michael, Magic, and Bird all rolled in one. Like that's what Jay-Z said. And the Magic and Bird thing with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has been there. And then others have said, JuJu Watkins per se will be the Michael Jordan. And I think Clark is closer to being all three put together than anything else based on what she's done, right? Like based on her breaking the NCAA scoring record, leading the nation in points and assists, going on to dominate the WNBA in her rookie year, producing more points than anyone ever has before. So you're almost setting people up by comparing them to Clark because that's a high bar to climb. That's not to say JuJu isn't great or Paige isn't great or whomever else isn't great. I think there are more stars. Flau'jae, Hidalgo. I've been stating that. And trust me, I'd love nothing more for there to be more stars. But before I compare any one to Clark, I have to believe they're actually at that level first. And that's where I think the issue is here, where the comparisons come because people are so desperate either for someone to be better than Clark or for there to be the magic that Clark had to continue this media storm and everything else. And I'll revisit some comments that were made on a recent podcast episode. It was the 7 p.m. in Brooklyn show, which is Carmelo Anthony's show. And you had Monica McNutt on as part of the panel as well. A great panel here. I'm not taking issue with anybody. In fact, one of the people on there is my friend, Kaz, who I'm a big fan of. We've, encountered each other over the years many times. So I'm not trying to make an example of anybody. I'm just playing you the clip, and then I will respond because I think it is relevant to this sort of conversation, especially after JuJu struggled against Notre Dame.
Women's basketball, to me, is in great shape. What's your biggest prediction of women's basketball in 2025?
I got one name, JuJu Watkins.
Say no more.
Yes.
Right?
Say no more.
Of course, I could give you a prediction about how it continues to grow. But I do think what we saw in the last 2 years is you need names to pin it to that have had crossover appeal.
Mm-hmm.
JuJu's that girl. USC is in the new Big Ten. She's literally going to be playing ball all around the country. And we can maybe have this conversation in April, but let's see what that looks like in terms of being able to stir up the frenzy that we had that frankly carried Caitlin into this season. Caitlin had a fantastic year, rookie of the year, exceeded expectations. I think JuJu has the potential to do the same thing when she gets to the pros, but if we could get that energy going from the college basketball ranks into the W season, I think it's only up.
I feel like anybody who's watched JuJu Watkins hoop,
man, she's so cold.
She's Maya Moore,
very Maya Moore-esque.
Super, bro.
Her mid-game package is elite.
Easy.
Crazy.
Her footwork is elite.
I've seen a lot of memes online, and they said Caitlin and Angel Reese were Magic and Bird, and then JuJu's gonna be Jordan.
Because she got a different type of game.
Yeah.
She has a killer game. It is you in front of me. I'm trying to eat.
Yeah.
Get out my way. Caitlin had a different type of killer.
Mm-hmm.
She'll pick you apart. She'll shoot your lights off from half court. She can pass. JuJu is one-on-one.
It's nothing she
get
can't
downhill,
do.
Get to her package, get a bucket.
You getting cooked.
She's a bucket getter.
Right. It's funny because we told that line, particularly in the conversations around Black women, about, don't be humble. Incredibly humble, but as soon as the lights are on, as soon as you step on the court, bump all that. She killer, to your point.
She remind me a lot of you. A lot of the mid-range game, the smoothness, the ease in which she got buckets.
She does have that.
Yeah, Maya Moore is a thing, but just move set wise, I'm like, that's Carmelo Anthony right there. That's
my guy.
Well, you see, Carmelo Anthony is a flattering and unflattering comparison there at the same time for my guy, because Melo was unquestionably a great NBA player, a great basketball player, obviously a great Olympian, really more so than anything else. And I think when you compare somebody to him, though, you're not saying they're going to be Jordan or LeBron or Steph Curry. I mean, Melo was criticized often for his game and his play style, for not being as efficient as his peers or not making his teammates better like some of his peers did. And that's not exactly what you would want to say about JuJu Watkins going forward if you think her potential is Caitlin Clark, because Caitlin Clark makes everybody around her better. And I think people do lose sight of how unique a phenomenon Clark has been. Again, trust me, I say this with 100% honesty. As soon as I see someone to compare Caitlin Clark to, I'm going to do it. Because if I believe it, number one, I'm going to say it. And number two, it is good for women's basketball. It is good for the industry I'm in. All those things. But I just haven't seen it yet. I've seen other exciting prospects. Paige is an exciting prospect. She can do it all. She's super efficient. She's going to be the number one pick for a reason. I love Flau'jae Johnson. I can't wait to see what she does the rest of this season as sort of the focal point of LSU. But I need to see it. Hidalgo, I love. She's a dog. Plays both ends of the floor. Feisty as hell. Can really score. JuJu's potential is in her size and her frame. She's so big that if she really unlocks everything, she could change all these dynamics. It could be there. But I just don't think it is there yet. I don't think she's efficient enough in her shot selection or in her shot conversion. I don't think she's that quick to beat people off the dribble if she's not beating them downhill with a head of steam. She's not shooting the ball well enough from the outside. All of those things. So the women I just mentioned who are terrific basketball players, to me, are all on the same level and should be debated against each other right now. Not necessarily against Caitlin Clark. Like, I get it. I understand it. But it seems almost desperate, in a sense, to create another Caitlin. It's almost desperate to create another Caitlin. And at the same time, you sort of set people up. Like, it sets JuJu up in a sense, because if she's not doing transcendent things, she's going to get criticized because the bar was up here. And look, JuJu's going to get better. I don't want to pile on or anything, because I said over the weekend that I'm not convinced she's better than Hidalgo or Flau'jae, which I'm not. That's just my basketball take. But I'm not trying to pile on her or anything. But the media hype is going to have some fans do that. That's what happened to Caitlin too. I mean, part of it was the media hype that caused fans to have a backlash. It happens all the time. LeBron has gotten it. The players, whoever gets hyped up gets it, right? Like a little bit of a backlash. So that's only to be expected. But the Caitlin Clark comparisons have to be earned. They're not going to just happen naturally. And it may not be the player that the media just decides. I think the fans and really the players' play is going to decide that when that player does emerge.